Hello and welcome to today's tutorial. Today we will be building an 8 furnace super smelter that looks nice and is really easy to use. It fills the furnaces consistently and evenly, and items never get stuck in the system during normal use. Let's begin. Here's the material list. This gravel can be any block that stacks to 64, or any item for that matter. This wool is the building blocks you cannot see from the control area, and these steep slate and planks are the blocks you can see from the control area. The first thing you want to do is decide where you want your controls. This will be a 3 high by 5 wide wall with things like your input and output chests, redstone lamps to tell you things about the system, like when it's overflowing, and a lever to shut off the system yourself. You're going to want to put your output chest here, your chest where you put stuff you want to cook in there, and your chest to put in fuel right there. Now, we can decorate this later, but more importantly, you want to make sure you have space behind it for the redstone. To dig out this space, you're going to want to go down from the floor, directly below the front of the center chest, 1, 2, 3, over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Right on this diamond block here is where the back corner of your build is going to be. From there, you're going to be digging out a 9 block by 11 block by 7 block tall space where you're going to put all of your redstone. Once you've dug out that space, now is a good time to decorate your control wall. So you use any decorative block of your choice to cover up here. Don't use solid blocks above the chest. You want to use stairs so they can still open. And just fill up the rest of the wall with solid blocks. Also, you're going to want to put solid blocks on this side of the stairs so that you can't see out from there from this side, just because that's the most obnoxious part. Also, I prefer to have a door put right here, just so in survival you can access the redstone. Once you have that sorted out, you're going to want to start work on your Minecarts tracks. So, from the floor here, you're going to want to take some temporary blocks and build this structure here. This is going to be where your minecart stations are. We'll go and break your temporary blocks and place down regular rails here, a powered rail and a detector rail, and a powered rail and a detector rail. Then you can break these rails and everything will stay just fine. Once you have this built, you can go ahead and build the hopper lines to the input chests. Temporary blocks there, hoppers running along here. The center chest can just be a straight hopper line, and the top chest can be run into with hoppers like that. Then you can break your temporary blocks. Now to put in the pistons. Temporary blocks here, here, and here. Here, here, and here. And then pistons and iron bars on top. These pistons will be responsible for holding the minecarts in place while they're being filled up. Now we're going to want to build the redstone that controls when the minecarts get released. So, take a building block of your choice, and build a structure like this. 3 there, 3 there, a block against that hopper, blocks up here like that, and a block there. You can repeat the same on the other side. Also, you want to have 3 blocks here, here, and here. If you're in Java Edition, put a transparent block like glass here and here, so you don't quasi-power your pistons with the redstone we'll be putting here later. Now we're going to start placing redstone on the structure we just built. A redstone comparator in subtract mode, reading from the detector rail. Another comparator facing into that first one. Redstone dust out of the side of that comparator. Redstone dust on top of this part here. A comparator here, and a repeater. A comparator here, and a repeater. A hopper facing into this comparator with 1 item in it that stacks to 64. And finally, a redstone torch here, and a redstone torch right here. The other side is mostly the same, with the exception of this part up here. A comparator reading from the chest, a repeater, and then the redstone along the top is just like normal. Torch there, heater, heater, comparator, comparator, redstone dust, hopper with the one item, and this seems done. Oh, except for this torch here. I forgot to do it, so just remember it's very important that this comparator and that comparator are both in subtract mode. Otherwise, the system won't work right. That's very important. Once you have this system in place, it's a good time to build the dropper vader that will feed into this chest. So, temporary block, 2 droppers facing straight up, and a platform made out of any block of your choice, just like this. Redstone all along the outside of that platform, a repeater facing into the dropper there, and a comparator and a repeater facing away from the droppers, just like that. Now it's time to install the shutoff redstone. This redstone will shut the system off anytime this chest is about to overflow, or this lever that should go right here is flicked. It will also turn on 1 or 2 of these lamps depending on what's happening. To start on the circuit, build out with any block of your choice, just like that, with a comparator, another comparator facing into its side, and a hopper facing into that comparator, with 3 stacks of any item plus a stack of 60. In front of this comparator, put a repeater, which runs into this set of blocks that you're going to build, with redstone dust running along them. Also, put dust there, a repeater there, and another block there. Run redstone line over just like that, and remember there has to be a block here so that these 2 redstone lines don't touch each other. Also a quick note that it is advised you put a bar across the top here just to keep your control panel looking nice. Now we're going to want to bring this redstone line over to the pistons so that it can hold it shut, so the system does not release the hopper minecarts when you don't want it to. So, using a building block of your choice, build out a structure just like this, all the way over to the pistons. Then bring redstone around. When this redstone turns on, the pistons will be forced to stay extended. Put a block here so these 2 redstone lines don't touch each other, and a target block, 2 blocks here, with a repeater and redstone dust, and an extra block here. We will revisit this redstone later when we build the part with the furnaces. It will lock the hoppers above the furnaces when the system is shut off, so that the output chest never overflows, even if there are extra items above the furnaces when the system shuts off. Speaking of the furnaces, that's what's coming next. Now, the furnaces don't have to be here. You actually have a lot of flexibility about where they go. If you want them in the ceiling, that's kind of weird, but okay. If you want them in this wall, you could probably make that work. Really, there's any number of customizations you could do. You could even add more hoppers than I put in this video. However, you do have to do some special things with the redstone to make that work properly, and I will release a video explaining how to do that later. For now, we're going to build this with 8 furnaces. I like to place some decoration right here, and the furnaces go right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. To get the output from the furnaces, you're going to want to take a hopper line facing into the bottom dropper over here, bring it around so that the hoppers are taking out from under all the furnaces. Then you're going to want to put hoppers on top of the furnaces. This is where the smeltables will go in, and 2 hoppers facing into the back of the furnaces. This is where the coal or other fuel will go in. The reason that there are 2 hoppers going into the back of the furnaces is that when the 2 minecart lines are too close, when the system is facing certain ways, The top hopper minecart will sometimes feed items into the bottom hopper minecart, and you get smeltables in your fuel. And that's not something that you really want. So, it is advised to have the two hoppers out from the back, just like this. You also want to have solid blocks in front of these hoppers on top. These solid blocks will lead to this redstone from earlier. You're going to want to test this and make sure that the redstone will light up all of the hoppers. If it doesn't, you can place another repeater along the line to keep it strong. Just make sure the repeater is not next to one of the hoppers, because then that hopper won't get powered. Now it's time to build the rail lines. First, cap off these two hopper lines with structures like this. This is where the powered rail will end up. First, let's do the fuel line. I like to start on this side. Bring it out like that, and over like this, and bring it down just like that. Now you can place your rails. And boom, you have your fuel line done. Now let's do the smeltables line. Take it out like this, over and up. And it is very important that when you're going to have one line above another, they're at least one block apart horizontally, or 2 blocks apart vertically. Otherwise, the line above the other one will feed items down from minecart to minecart, and you never want that. So, bring the stairway up, all the way up to the level of that top line of hoppers. Bring it around just like this. Now, there's this redstone torch here, so just use any transparent block. Could be stairs, slabs, or glass. I'll just use the building block I've been using for the rest of the project. And bring the line over like that. Place your rails. And everything is golden. It's important that these two rails, right in front of the powered rails, are regular rails. You don't want to have an extended powered rail line like that, just because you're risking some things getting stuck or messed up. Now we need to power these rails. So, for these 3 rails here, 1, 2, 3, because this is powered by that torch, which will not always be on, you want to have a solid block here, and a lever. This lever is powering all 3 of these rail lines. This set of rail lines have a block and a lever. And for this set of rail lines, you have a lever here and a lever here. If there's any more spots that need powering, you can just use a lever, making sure not to let it interfere with any of the other redstone. And now, the rail lines are actually fully done. Now you're going to want to install the minecart with hoppers. Just right-click on top of the 2 detector rails in their slots, and they should slide into place. Now that the redstone is done, let's add some finishing touches. First, I like to put signs on this wall to remind me what the different parts do, and to tell anybody else who might be using it on a multiplayer world. First, a sign pointing to the fuel chest and the shutoff switch. A sign pointing to the chest where you put in the things you're cooking. A sign pointing to the output chest. A sign saying that when this lamp is on, the shutoff is on. And a sign saying that when this lamp is on, that means the shutoff is because of the chest being full. When the chest is this full, both lamps will turn on, and these 2 pistons will be forced to keep the system shut. Once this happens, you're going to want to empty the system. Last, let's tidy up how this place looks. Just fill in any gaps, cover up any redstone, and I like to put iron bars over the furnaces so that anybody else playing in the world doesn't open the furnaces and take anything out or put anything in. This system distributes large loads evenly over these furnaces. If you want to do smaller batches, I'd suggest having furnaces elsewhere that are for smaller batches. Also, if you're careful, you can notice that you can see some gaps behind the chest. Nobody's really going to notice, but if you care about that kind of thing, you can just fill in the gaps here. Just like that. And that. So that's the system. Now all you need to do to start things is just to put all your fuel into the top chest, and all of the things you want to cook into the bottom chests. It'll take a couple seconds to get started, but when it does, the furnaces all light up from right to left, and you're left to wait for your items to come into the output chest. So that was my first tutorial. If you liked what you saw, please tell me so I'm more confident making this type of thing in the future. I have many videos planned ahead. I just need to know that what I'm making is good so I don't feel like I'm wasting time on a project I'll end up deleting. I spent a lot of time building easy-to-use, nice-looking contraptions for my own survival worlds because I never saw anything that really satisfied me on the usability and looks front. So if you'd like to see those, please subscribe so you're notified. Anyway, I hope that's enough. This is Psyker, signing off.